Detroit done through and through. Welcome back. I got another good episode for you guys today. Before I get into it, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave some comments down below. Helps us out a whole lot, guys. The other day, I did an episode. Not too many people were a fan of it, but that's okay. I got some thick skin here. I'm here to talk football. I throw out some opinions, and not everyone agrees with it. I understand it's the nature of the beast. But this episode, just the other day, I think it was Friday. Um, I was talking about this rumor that I saw, this report about Trey Lance being traded to the Detroit Lions. Um, I kind of really just shot that one down. But in that episode, I had mentioned a guy, an NFL player by the name of Ryan Tannehill, who I'm pretty familiar with. So for some of my friends who have my phone number, texted me, and we were just, kind of going back and forth talking about Ryan Tannehill. And he's like, man, do you really think that that's an option? And I started to think, would I like Ryan Tannehill as the emergency quarterback option? So I'll be honest. Let me just set the table a little bit for you guys. When it comes to Henden Hooker, there's been some a wide range of opinions on this show. I personally love Henden Hooker. I think he's going to be good. I want to see him get on a football field, an NFL football field. That's been my only hiccup when it comes to Hendon is I haven't seen anything in the NFL. I can sit here and tell you how great he was in college, but for me, if it doesn't translate to the NFL, it really doesn't mean anything for the Detroit Lions. What you did in college doesn't help the Lions win a Super Bowl. I need to see that translate to an NFL field, not a college field. I think Hendon's going to be okay. What I'm going to be looking for this whole offseason when we get into training camp is how much playing time Henden Hooker's getting, how much reps he's getting with the number ones. When these preseason games roll around with the Giants, the Chiefs, and the Steelers, how much actual game time is he going to actually be playing? And I've said from probably day one, when this comes around and we get into preseason games, I want to see Henden Hooker out there for 3 quarters. I don't need to see David Blau. I don't need to see whoever QB3 is really, but Henden Hooker is locked into QB2. But with this NFL's new rule and the emergency quarterback situation, and Ryan Tannehill still not having a job, no one signed him yet. I'm a little interested in that role for him as QB3 emergency quarterback. So I'm just going to read you guys the NFL's rule. An emergency quarterback is permitted to enter a game only if the club's 2 active quarterbacks are unable to play, either by disqualification, an ejection, or injury. So that means if Jared Goff or Hendon Hooker or both of them get hurt or ejected for whatever reason, then you would bring in a guy like Ryan Tannehill as that 3rd quarterback. I am absolutely not saying Ryan Tannehill should be quarterback 2 coming to the Detroit Lions. It hasn't even happened. It's just, it would give me personally a nice warm, fuzzy feeling. We kind of saw this with the San Francisco 49ers a couple years ago, where Brock Purdy got hurt and they had to bring in Josh Johnson, who got hurt, and they were literally running Christian McCaffrey as their quarterback. So this is kind of where this rule came from. And it's something that we really haven't seen yet. But hey, if we're the Detroit Lions, why not just check all our bases? And the reason I'm bringing this up is, if you've watched some of Brad Holmes's press conferences, he's literally used the word bloodbath when it comes to competition coming into training camp with some of these guys that we've signed, like our secondary, our receivers, our offensive line, everyone coming in and competing for a job. He used the word bloodbath. So why not just add to it? Why not just bring in a quarterback 3 who's got a lot of experience? He's won some football games, never won a Super Bowl, in Ryan Tannehill, but just why not? So let's just take a real quick look at Ryan Tannehill throughout his career. Started out with Miami, came from Texas A&M. He played a lot of receiver and kind of was going back and forth as quarterback, but in the NFL, he settled in as a quarterback. Miami from 2012 to 2018 was not very good. So when he became a free agent and the Tennessee Titans had Marcus Mariota, Ryan Tannehill chose Tennessee knowing, hey, Mariota's here. He's on a short leash, though. I can get in here and I can get some, I can get some reps. I can go in here and I can compete with Marcus Mariota. I can eventually steal his job. And that's exactly what he did. And he actually led the Tennessee Titans a few years ago to a NFC championship game against the Kansas City Chiefs, where the Titans were up in that game. The Titans were looking to go to the Super Bowl, and it just obviously didn't work out. Patrick Mahomes, one of the best ever, an absolute problem. And then, just a couple years ago, Ryan Tannehill against the Cincinnati Bengals, probably his worst game as a pro, where he threw 3 interceptions I remember that Tennessee Titans defense, they actually sacked Joe Burrow, I think like 9 times. I think that defense set a record for sacks in a playoff game, and they still lost. Ryan Tannehill had an absolutely awful game. With all that being said, a guy who, what's his QB rating throughout his career is a 91.2. That's a pretty good rating. He really peaked in 2019 and 2020, where his rating was 117.5 in 2019 and 106.5 in 2020. And then he's kind of slowly fizzled out. A little bit of a good year in 2022, but 2023 last year, he was awful. He was not good and actually lost his job to Will Levis, who's kind of taken over for Tennessee, looking like he's going to possibly be their quarterback of the franchise for the next few years. And we'll actually see the Titans later this year. We play them at home. I can't remember what week it is, but I do know that we have a home game against the Titans. But Ryan Tannehill as the third emergency quarterback option, I think he's a nice fit. Now, looking at the Detroit Lions, like I said, Jared Goff's locked in as the quarterback 1, and we obviously like Henden Hooker as quarterback 2. So what are we really trying to figure out here? We're trying to figure out just what if, we just want to have all of our bases checked here. We want to be just prepared for anything. So when it comes to the Detroit Lions depth chart, Jared Goff, Henden Hooker, and then it's really Nate Sudfeld or Ryan Tannehill. Who would you rather have? For me, without a doubt, 10 times out of 10, give me a guy who's at least been to an AFC championship game over Nate Sudfeld. Sorry, I'm not trying to be disrespectful on here, but we need someone who's at least got a track record of being able to win some football games. So let's dive a little bit into what Ryan Tannehill is really good at. He's really good at play action. That's what the Detroit Lions try to do. We are very good at setting up our run, opening up some play action, and getting our offense really going through the running game. Another thing, Tennessee Titans, when Ryan Tannehill was really thriving and playing well, they had a guy by the name of Derrick Henry. Hey, just turn around, hand the ball off to Derrick Henry, get ready for the next play. We kind of have somewhat of the same thing here with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Would it be a fit? Yes. Ryan Tannehill doesn't have to be the guy. He would just have to be a guy in the situation that we're talking about where our other 2 quarterbacks are not available to play. Ryan Tannehill is also a little bit athletic. Now, he's not Michael Vick or Patrick Mahomes, but he's got a little bit of mobility to extend plays. We just need to really hone in his decision making, because sometimes Ryan Tannehill just really forces throws and just makes really, really, really bad decisions. But if you come here in Detroit, quarterback of the offense, you got an offensive line that's elite, the 2 best running backs in the NFL, a young up-and-coming Sam Laporta, a Monter St. Brown who just got paid, Jameson Williams, a guy you could just get the ball to and see what happens. We're really high on a lot of other guys on this team that we want to see explode. Khalif Raymond's a nice little weapon. Donovan Peoples-Jones is another name. Like we got some options if Ryan Tannehill had to be the quarterback for just a couple games, or even if something happened, and I don't even want to live in this world where maybe the roster kind of pushes itself up and Ryan Tannehill become quarterback 2. You just never know what's going to happen, guys. Like I said, this is just an idea. I am by no means saying that he needs to be the starter or even the backup. And I'm speaking this as a Detroit Lions fan. I understand that Ryan Tannehill probably doesn't want to come here. He probably wants to go somewhere where he can start, or at least have something like that Tennessee situation where maybe there's a quarterback out there who's on a short leash. I could come in, maybe steal his job if I play well. That's probably what Ryan Tannehill is looking for, and I get it and I understand it. But it's post-draft. Training camp starts here in just like a little over a month. He doesn't have a job yet. Maybe just make a call and see what happens, guys. So leave it in the comments down below. Let me know how you feel about Ryan Tannehill as the emergency quarterback. Again, I can't stress that enough. I am by no means asking for Ryan Tannehill to come here and be the starter or even QB2. And I understand his mindset is probably, I got a little bit left in the tank. I want to go somewhere where I might have a chance to play. I understand. It's just something to talk about. Leave it in the comments. We'll be back later with another show.